Yes.
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 Okay. No. No. Okay. No.
Yes.
No. No.
No.
No. No.
Okay. According to MCMC Internet Survey in 2018, Malaysians between 20 to 30s are spending an average of 8 hours on the internet daily. And with the advancement of internet and smartphones, younger generation are more accessible to pornography content. According to the most visited porn site on the internet, Pornhub, in 2018 alone, it has up to 33.5 billion of visitors that year. And on the same statistic, it is not surprising that the age range that was the most frequent Pornhub visitors are those within 18 to 34. So now here comes the question. Is watching pornography illegal in Malaysia?
Generally, the provision relating to pornography is on distribution of pornography or the ownership of these materials. So you can actually see all these laws under, like for example, the Penal Code, which is a law that provides for criminal sections and the punishments that go along with it. So for pornography in Penal Code, you can look at Section 292 of the Penal Code, which generally talks about the sale and the distribution, and also having the content of pornography in your possession. And it has its own penal provisions that provide for the punishments and the fine law. And then you can also see like Section 5 of the Film Censorship 2002, which generally talks about pornography in terms of videos. So for Penal Code, it's more on example like photos or like printed materials, whereas for the Film Censorship 2002 Act, it's more on videos. Generally, in Malaysia, there's no specific law that prohibits watching or viewing of pornography. There is like a code which the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, they actually prepared this code of conduct, which is actually just a guideline and a governing standard for all the users of the internet to create a self-regulating industry. Just to tell you that, pornography is an obscene content, and that's why you shouldn't, or you're encouraged to not watch or distribute. But exception for watching of pornography, which is child pornography. So any materials related to minors or children, it falls under the meaning of Sexual Offences Against Children Act 2017. So essentially, it says that any pornography or anything that relates to children, sexual offences is illegal. Under Section A, it says that any person who obtains, collects or seeks any child pornography can be punished by imprisonment for a term not exceeding 15 years, and you will be punished by whipping not less than 3 strokes. So it's a very serious offence of even obtaining or even looking or trying to search for child pornography. Additionally, Section 10 of the same Act also talks about any person who accesses or has in possession child pornography. It states that the punishment is the imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years or fine less than 10,000 ringgit or both. Generally, what we can see is that in Malaysia, there's no specific law that says one cannot watch pornography. But if the pornography is it has children in it or minors in it, then it becomes an offense.
Let's see how younger generation treat pornography.
有
10个小时，
5到6个小时。
没有，
没有，有，我看着你看了。你上网 太贵了你。写什么啊？
不会，
不要玩，这么安静去看。
除了
上课跟睡觉
都在用。
看 YouTube。
上网哦，IG 最新。
这个算吧。
你可以开出来。
如果算的话就有哦。
可能看小说的时候，下面会有哦，吸引不到我。
有我有。看啊，要
看封面啊，看封面。
要主要是看颜值啊。
我记得是我第一次接触这种东西的时候，是看到我爸爸妈妈在看，然后我在后面偷偷跟着一起看，应该是大概小学4、5年级的时候，我们讲一起看。
我看动漫的，朋友介绍。不会讲特别去想要这样做，或者可能偶尔这样咯。
近几年都没有，不过初中的时候有，初1、初2的时候。
如何使用避孕套？避孕套的功能？
其实它是一个讲要对性行为负责的一个讲座这样子哦，然后也给我们看堕胎的影片啊，堕胎的危害这样子，然后就教我们如何防护。
重要。
重要。
I knew pornography when I was still in primary school, but the exact age that I started watching pornography was around secondary school. And then the way I get it, online. And then, during that time, they're still accessible in local. I was not facing difficulties on, getting such sources. But I think this is such a special entertainment for people, but not that often to watch. Still, we can, have enough fundamental understanding about this kind of things.
So I was 12 years old when I first knew about pornography, and it was my classmate who showed me through his computer. Then that's when I knew what pornography was.
Probably around secondary school. Maybe, I don't remember really the reason, but maybe just scrolling along the social media and accidentally discovered it during secondary school. Probably the guys are discussing about it, but we are not really into that.
Estimately, I think 3 hours.
I spend around 8 hours a day on average on social media every day.
Probably around 7 to 8 hours just scrolling Facebook. In general, probably longer than that since I'm using WhatsApp on daily basis, and probably exceeding 10 hours or more.
Yes, and then I will just swipe away.
Yes, I have encountered for pornographic videos or even ads on social media. I deal with it. At first, I shy away from it because it's very awkward looking at these things on my social media things. But after time pass, I just take it as average, as normal things already. I just become more and more curious, more than shying away from this kind of content.
It's actually quite normal to see this type of ads at social media, and how do I really deal with it? Maybe sometimes it depends on my mood. Maybe I will just watch the whole thing, or if it is uncomfortable for me, maybe I'll just watch a small part of it and then I'll just scroll away.
Weeks, because you need energy to have this kind of entertainment. Besides this, you also need time to entertain yourself. So since this is defined as an entertainment, if you are not free from working stuff, your academic stuff, of course you cannot do it.
I'll watch pornography maybe 1 or 2 weeks, once only, but the average is only 2 weeks. And why do I watch pornography? It's probably something that every one of us would look at, and maybe it's for stress relieving.
Maybe once in 1 month or something like, or more a little bit, but it's not that much. Since I don't have a relationship currently, so I just watch it and then just for fun.
I prefer on websites. According to my understanding, I don't know any one of the social media which can get this kind of sources.
I would prefer watch pornography on pornography websites. I think the website that I always see is what the average people look today. www.pornhub.com.
Really discussing that, then it will be website. Since social media, it won't be that much of compared to pornographic site, and sites have more choices compared to social media.
Single? I don't think so, because this is quite a private and personal stuff. So if you watch it without your another half knowing, then I think it would be okay lah.
Yes, I'm single, and in my opinion, watching pornography too much will affect your relationship, because I think one side of the relationship, if he or she is too addicted to pornography, will ask the other side of the relationship for more actions or positions or anything from the pornography. And we all know that pornography videos that all the content are fake. If they're too addicted, they'll ask a lot of unreasonable things from their partner like that. So I think it will affect the relationship if it's too addictive for each of the side.
Actually, I think it depends on how both parties think, but I think it actually will strengthen the bond between both partners, since you can actually openly discuss about what the pornography is about, and maybe you are not restricting the other partner to not watching it, but actually you are giving permission for them to watch, and maybe you can just watch together and discuss everything together.
I think there's a few reasons. First of all, maybe people are curious about sexual matter, whereby they cannot get sufficient educations or sufficient exposures. That's why they will turn to pornography to get this kind of information as a part of curiosities, and then want to know more about it. Other than that, people also watch pornography because of the entertainment. Sexual needs is part of the human needs. If let's say you are unable to satisfy yourself in certain conditions, so people will turn to pornography to get their sexual gratifications.
Based on my understanding, basically we can say from peer pressure, social media also one of the reason, the influence they get from social media, and loneliness, don't get family's attention sometimes, boredom. There are quite a number of factors which lead to this. So basically, if the main thing is influence and their curiosity to try something, because at the age where you're young or at youth, you tend to try something new. When you observe something, you want to try. So out of curiosity, you will do it.
Legally, it's supposed to be 18 years old and above lah. Okay, because we believe that if once you achieve 18 years old, your mentality and your self-control is better compared to those who are underage, right? But the exposure of pornography actually become younger and younger. Okay, so young people like 15 years old, 13 years old, actually they already start to have this kind of exposure. Some more nowadays, because of the IT advancements, internet, okay, you have all your smartphone elsewhere, so basically it's very difficult to control. So all these kind of things actually exposed much more earlier as compared to previous generations.
When you say age range, I believe and understand there is no age limit, because we don't know when they will be exposed into this, at which age. We don't actually control and see, okay, you don't see this or don't do that, because we don't know who they mix with, which environment they are in. Basically, what I can say is, compared to before, the exposure is much more earlier nowadays compared to earlier. they reach the sources more easily to watch all this than before. So there will not be any specific age limit, just that it's something unhealthy solution for them to go into this. So whenever they get a space, they just go into it, and that's how it happens.
Basically, I shouldn't say pornography is something very negative. It can be positive if, let's say, you're able to control the urge and able to understand the production of pornography. Okay, so basically, sometimes pornography will show some scenes which is some things that is not true. It's just a cut and paste things, cut and then stop and then continue. It's like, if let's say you understand the process of the video, basically you are not going to be affected. So in this case, it's not going to affect you mentally or physically. But if let's say you are unable to control the urge, maybe we talk about addicted to this pornography, then it really harms to your mental and physical health as well.
If on physical well-being, I can roughly say maybe it will cause certain dysfunction, addiction. And when it comes to mental well-being, because it's much related to my profession, I will say it will lead to obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, social anxiety, because you tend to be by yourself when you are lonely. You keep watching it and then you don't have interaction with others. So you have difficulties to deal with people, social anxiety, social performance, and also can lead to depression if it's long-term. If long-term your excessive use into this can lead to depression and emptiness, because you feel that my life is not worth of anything. I'm only focusing on this. I get the sexual pleasure from this, so I will go under depression.
So basically, this is a lifelong process. It's not something like, I watch pornography, then I have different perception towards it. Actually, gender differences, gender typing, behavior, those things, basically is formed since young. Okay, in the family setting. But if let's say we want to talk about discriminations, when we talk about gender discriminations, maybe pornography plays a role. Okay, whereby the previous generations, pornography basically is target on the male as a consumer. Okay, whereby they always, in the scenes, they victimize the woman. Okay, so the level of woman actually is imbalance, right? But in current trend, pornography actually, they have a shift target, okay, from male to female. So there's also some pornography actually target on female as the consumer, as a user. In this case, actually, they look for the gender equality rather than inequality.
It's hard for me to say yes or no, but definitely sometimes they do have impression from what, because when you watch pornography, we don't know up to which extent they watch, what do they do, and how do they perceive it. But and then sometimes it can affect somehow. They have disrespect, maybe morality value towards a woman or even towards a man. Sometimes when they start watching things that is not proper, then the female might have impression towards a guy. Maybe she see a family member, she might have an impression that things doesn't work in that way. It will affect them somehow. It will not be the same.
We need to understand that different people have different threshold, right? Maybe today I ask you to eat a plate of food, right? So you will think that I'm full already. But for me, maybe I think that is not enough, right? So different people have different addicted level. So shouldn't say that, I spend more time on the pornography than I'm addicted. So basically it's based on individual differences. Definitely there is a linkage between pornography usage and also the addictions. There is a linkage, but it's not necessary. It depends on people. Let's say you talk about addiction, you addicted already, then which means that it's very hard for you to control. Because you're out of control, then you're only addicted. Alright? So if let's say you talk about usage only, not up to the level of addicted, then which means that you're still under your control. You still can control the usage. But when you're addicted, which means that it's out of control. No matter how, you will go to find time to watch the things that you want to watch.
Possibilities are there. Once you get involved into it, if very regular, there are chances to get involved, because why? You are more into fantasy than reality. So you get all that satisfaction in that. So you tend, if I feel happy doing this, why not I do this whenever I'm feeling bad. I try to get happiness from it.
Based on the past study, actually mentions that pornography in certain way actually can improve the couple relationship. Because pornography basically give you the scenes of sexual action. So when talk about couple relationship, part of their life is about sex. So we want to have a better relationship. Sex is not the only one, but it's an important one. Okay, I can say that, right? Okay, from the pornography you can learn some technique. Okay, you can learn some moment on how to be romantic with your partner. So basically this media actually can serve as a platform for you to learn something different from what you know. But if let's say you are really addicted to it and going to affect your marital relationship, then this will be negative effect on it, right? So basically it depends on how this pornography usage is going to affect your relationship. But basically if let's say you're able to control the usage and really utilize the platform to learn something that can create a betterment in your relationship, then actually is good things.
So if you're talking about positive effects, of course it have better interaction, get to know people and everything. But negative side, it really affects relationship. For example, priority and then lack of interaction, because the core thing in relationship is communication.
Most of the interviewee has stated that they learn pornography through peers or internet. So here bears the question, is sex education important in Malaysia?
Yes, definitely. For me, I think this is something that necessary, because I think all of us have the right to get educations. Okay, so if let's say we are too close-minded in terms of we were always thinking about if let's say we expose to them this kind of informations, it sound like encouraging them. Actually, I think this is not right. In case, I think all of us have the right to know about the knowledge. So from the knowledge itself, we know how to make the risk assessment. I think our educational system should have this education to educate them, no matter you are from the preschool, primary or secondary. But the exposures supposed to be based on their level. Not to say that preschool you teach them the contraceptive method, right? So you need to know that maybe for preschool they need to they need to understand their body and then understand how to defend their body. For example, those sexual harassments, right? So which part can touch, which part is not touchable, all those things. And then go to the primary. So what kind of information they should know, right? As compared to the secondary. So the sex education is supposed to be by level, not one shot everything to give them. But again, I think in Malaysia, definitely we have that syllabus in educational system, but the implementation is not effective. 2 years back, there is a pre-run of sex education in kindergarten, but that one until now there's no news at all. So I don't know how actually they are going to implement to the whole Malaysia or what. Yeah, that one only pre-run in one kindergarten. Basically, I'm not say pornography is something very harmful, okay? But you can watch, but with the conditions that you're able to control the consequences. Yeah, if let's say you're able to control, then it's okay. It's not going to be harm anyone and you also.
I would say definitely yes. It's very important, because some country, the sex education is focusing on biological, that what is the purpose of this and this for male and female. But it's very important to equip them with information. They need to know, okay, what is healthy sexual relationship is like. They need to understand. Let's say what are the contraceptive options are given, they need to know that. Because they need to protect themselves and another person to avoid the unwanted phenomena. It's very important for this thing. That's why sex education is to help them to understand how to be prepared. For example, of course we don't ask to get raped, but if rape happen, at least you have the knowledge that what can I do the next day. There are pills to avoid all this. So if you have sex education, you understand better what can I do, how can I be prepared, instead of going into something negative and going into something unwanted.
The persons that
addicted to pornography maybe can look for some distractions, maybe some engage in some activities that interest them. Okay, so from there actually if like you get busy, then definitely you will forget to do something that you addicted to. Let's say treatments wise, from a psychology perspective, maybe we can have some cognitive behavioral therapies, so which means that we change your mindset about your pornography use, and then actually can change your behavior as well. Yeah, this is one of it. Other than that, maybe we can counseling activities, right? Who are addicted to this pornography actually can work together with the counselor to look for the possible alternative to reduce the addictions. Yeah, basically.